aquarianradio.com.
Aloha, this is Enki. You know me as Aquarius, and this is our age, the Sata Yuga. Time to celebrate with us. We have programs on all chakra tantra, love styles and relationship choices, counseling strategies and techniques that you can use at home. We have extraterrestrial radio where we deal with alienology, paranormal people, and we have an experiencers network. We have a section called Ancient Aliens, and the programs therein are Enki Speaks, Nimma, the Mother of Humanity, has her program, and we revise ancient anthropology. And most important of all, we have peace paradigms, because this is the age of peace, harmony and understanding, sympathy and love abound. No more falsehoods or derisions, mystic crystal dreams and visions.
And here are your hosts, Janet and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Aloha everyone, and welcome to Aquarian Radio at aquarianradio.com. I'm your host, Janet Lessin, and I'm here with my co-host, anthropologist Dr. Sasha Lessin. Today's program is called The Bible-Coded Physics and Development of the Universe and Earth. On this show, we read excerpts from the E.T. Chronicles by Dr. Rita Louise and Wayne Labarete. Dr. Lessin will read the modern physics and biology, and I'll read the excerpts from the Bible. You'll hear how they say the same thing, just in different languages. So, first, how modern physics see the creation of the universe.
Edwin Hubble discovered that distant galaxies were moving away from us, that our universe was growing at incredible speeds. And George Lemaistre projected that the expansion of the universe back in time suggested that at one time our universe existed as a central point and then expanded outward, and it was created from a primeval atom. This primeval atom increased in size over time. This is the Big Bang. And the Big Bang tells us that our universe was created 13.7 billion years ago. And this is based, however, only on how far we happen to be able to see in space. We can't even see the edge of the universe. Now, according to the Big Bang, all matter and energy was contained in a single small point called a singularity. And this singularity was made of densely packed matter and energy. And then as fast, or maybe even faster than the speed of light, the densely packed matter and energy that made up this point began to expand. The forces that ruled our world are electromagnetism, gravitation, and weak and strong interactions. And these were present within microseconds after the explosion. Quarks, hadrons, leptons appeared as the universe continued to expand and cool. And then energy during these early moments was at first radiation, and it was not matter. By the time 10 seconds had elapsed, the universe was filled with photons, a basic unit of electromagnetic energy, that's light, photons. The universe was so hot that ordinary atoms couldn't even exist. Electrons caused small packets of light, called photons, to scatter continuously, and the light was coupled to the particles, and this is what caused the whole universe to glow. And this is the primordial soup. The universe looked like a plasma soup of protons, electrons, neutrons, neutrinos, and photons.
So we're going to look at the passage from Genesis 1:3. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. This light lasted for 380,000 years until the universe had cooled down enough for atoms such as hydrogen and helium to form. And the story of creation does not end there. It continues. And God brought about a division between the light and the darkness. And God began calling the light day, but the darkness he called night.
Our universe is still expanding. What's holding the galaxies together? Dark matter's holding the galaxies together. Dark matter is composed of elementary particles that neither emit nor reflect electromagnetic radiation. That's what makes it dark matter to the observer. Dark matter not only contributes to more than 90% of our known universe, but also the evolution, structure, and formation of galaxies is directly related to dark matter's gravitational forces.
Is the Bible, when talking about the separation of light and darkness, actually describing the formation of observable matter versus dark matter? So this is from Genesis 1:5. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, a first day.
In the second epoch, as far as physicists are concerned, of galactic evolution, there's the development of galaxies. The universe was homogeneous until this epoch too, and that's when a sea of photons and early forms of hydrogen, helium, and dark matter were all you had, and the cosmos kept cooling, and the building blocks of our universe condensed. The elementary particles then, through their gravitational pull, began clinging together and leaving vast areas of empty space between them. The clumps of matter and dark matter consolidated to form the galaxies.
In Genesis 1:8, and God began to call the expanse heaven, and there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, a second day. In Genesis 1:9 through 10, and God went on to say, let the waters under the heavens be brought together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it came to be so. And God began calling the dry land earth, but the bringing together the waters he called seas. Further, God saw that it was good.
In the next epoch, as far as the physicists are concerned, stellar evolution is what we get. The stars that fill the galaxies began to take shape. Stars form as local gases and dust are drawn together through their gravitational forces. As their mass and gravity increased, the molecular cloud from which they were formed collapsed, and it caused their temperatures to get even hotter. And you get nuclear fusion then. And this nuclear fusion is what makes the solar bodies, and they give off light and heat once ignited. The remaining clouds of gas and dust that surrounded the stars also aggregated, and the planets were formed. The formation of Earth then moves us from a cosmic timeline into a local timeline of our planet. And we start with the Precambrian. That's 4.5 million years ago. Then, in the Precambrian, 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was still a molten mass of rock during the earliest stages. And as Earth cooled, heavier elements such as iron sank to the core of Earth. The lighter elements rose to the surface. Volcanic activity across the Earth emitted gases like ammonia, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor, and these developed into a dense cloud zone in the early atmosphere. The burning vapors caused the surface of the Earth to lie shrouded in darkness at this time, and the moon formed. In the way these physicists see it, a planet the size of Mars struck the proto-Earth, and you'll see that Sitchin says the same thing. This impact caused a large amount of matter to be ejected into space, and this matter formed a disk similar to Saturn's rings around the Earth.
Water as rainfall condensed as temperatures continued cooling. The heavy dense cloud cover that surrounded the Earth produced violent storms. Oceans began to form around 4.4 billion years ago. The surface temperature of the planet was still around 446 degrees Fahrenheit. The first signs of life, according to the fossil record, appeared on Earth around 3.8 billion years ago. The Earth's atmosphere was filled with toxic gases. Simple forms of bacteria were found thriving amid this sea of toxicity. The earliest microorganisms discovered on Earth, called chemoautotrophs were anaerobic, and they did not utilize oxygen for metabolism like we do. They derived their energy from the intake of inorganic substances such as hydrogen sulfate, sulfur, and ammonia, and produced oxygen as a byproduct. This kind of bacteria is still found on the earth. Some of the earliest organisms known as eukaryotic cells include some of the earliest plant, fungal, and animal life appeared as early as 1.8. Eukaryotes are organisms that have a cellular nucleus that contains the cell's genetic materials.
The Middle Precambrian presented increased oxygen, which caused the extinction of many of the bacteria, but it supported the eukaryote life.
What a word.
By the end of the Precambrian, worm-like Parmia and Cynosabellites appeared in the fossil record. The earliest fossils of trilobites and archaeocynethids, which is a kind of sponge, were also found in the water. The Paleolithic, that's the next one, saw an explosion of life forms, and this started about 542 million years ago and ended 251 million years ago. Now, the Paleozoic, represented animals with shells and exoskeletons like trilobites, brachiopods, mollusks, and sea plants. By the middle of this Paleozoic period, fish and cephalopodia, that is octopus, squid, and cuttlefish, were swimming in the ocean, and primitive plants had begun to move onto land. And not long after, insects, including arthropods and arachnids, took up residence on the land. By the end of the Paleozoic era, huge forests filled with giant insects covered the land. Tetrapods, that is vertebrate animals with 4 limbs, and amphibians left the water and began evolving along the edge of the sea. And by the time the Paleozoic closes, the first reptiles joined the ranks of animal life on land.
So we return to the Bible in Genesis 1:11-12. And God went on to say, "Let the earth cause grass to shoot forth, vegetation bearing seed, fruit trees, yielding fruit according to their kinds, the seed of which is in it, upon the earth." And it came to be so. And the earth began to put forth grass, vegetation, bearing seed according to its kind, and trees, yielding fruit, the seed of which is in according to its kind. Then God saw that it was good.
The next thing that happened, as far as the biologists are concerned, is in the story of the universe being created by the Big Bang, that this epic ends with the formation of matter and particles of the universe. Then day 2, to review, was when we had the stars and the galaxies. Now let's go back to Genesis. We don't have to say the exact part of Genesis. We'll just say Genesis from now on.
Okay. And there came to be evening, and there came to be a morning, and this was the 3rd day.
Day 3 for our planet is when life is created, looking at it from the Bible's perspective. And as we know from the scientists, life started out as single-celled, and it concluded with plant life and insects that ruled the earth. And toward the end of it, we get amphibians and reptiles. There was a great dying of life, and that marks the end of the Paleozoic. And it's known as the Permian-Triassic extinction. And this was 251.4 million years ago, and it killed off 96% of all marine species, 70% of all vertebrate land animals, and over 50% of all insect species. And this Permian-Triassic extinction was associated with the eruption of a supervolcano in Siberia, which emitted a plume of ash and hydrocarbons for 200,000 years. This ash and hydrocarbon plume blocked the sunlight from passing through, and it caused global temperatures to go way, way down. And still another thing that contributed to the demise of early life on Earth was an impact crater that was found in Wilkes Land of Antarctica. This was a 300-mile wide meteor, 6 times the size of the one that hit Earth and killed off the dinosaurs. And this is hits the Earth 250 million years ago, and it's contributed also to the breaking up of the supercontinent, which existed at the time, which was called Gondwana, and it set off another supervolcano in Siberia. Okay, now we return to Genesis.
Genesis 1:14 to 19. And God went on to say, "Let luminaries come to be in the expanse of the heavens, to make a division between the day and the night. And they must serve as signs for seasons and for days and years. And they must serve as luminaries in the expanse of the heavens to shine upon the earth." And it came to be so. And God proceeded to make the 2 great luminaries, the great luminary for dominating the day, and the lesser luminary for dominating the night, and also the stars. Thus God put them in the expanse of the heavens, to shine upon the earth, and to dominate by day and by night, and to make a division between the light and the darkness. Then God saw that it was good, and there came to be evening, and there came to be a morning, a 4th day. God, in this selection, is said to create the moon, the sun, moon, and stars. Prior to this point, plant life exploded during the Paleozoic era. Plant life requires light to support photosynthesis.
So you can see that the way our authors here, Rita Louise, is using the word God in this context isn't a specific guy with a robe on Michelangelo's roof in the Sistine Chapel. She's talking about God as the universal force that was loosed in the Big Bang. And she says that actually this part of the creation story that was in the Bible was originally in the 3rd day of creation, so to speak, rather than the 4th day. She makes that distinction. Until late in the Paleozoic, the bulk of animal life in the depths of the oceans swarmed there. Plant life came at the end of the era, and then it took off, covered the land. Amphibians and early reptiles appeared late in the Paleozoic, and their small numbers didn't account for the bulk of terrestrial life at all. And at that point, she says, that's when disaster strikes. A giant meteor hit Antarctica, set off the supervolcano in Siberia. The dust and ash expelled shrouds, and the Earth was dark for a few 100,000 years. Life on Earth, however, did rebound, and it moved from the depths of the ocean to life on land. And life underwater also started growing. And then we come to the 5th day of creation as far as the physicists and biologists are concerned, which is called the Mesozoic. And this is known as the age of dinosaurs on land. And also giant creatures inhabited the seas during the Mesozoic. Things like the pterodactyls started flying. And now we return to Genesis.
And God went on to say, "Let the waters swarm forth a swarm of living souls, and let flying creatures fly over the earth upon the face of the expanse of the heavens." And God proceeded to create the great sea monsters and every living soul that moves about, which the waters swarmed forth according to their kinds, and every winged flying creature according to its kind. And God got to see that it was good. With that God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and become many, and fill the waters in the sea basins, and let the flying creatures become many in the earth." Okay, if you compare the opening, the 6th day as presented in the Bible, it's easy to see why we have identified this quotation as describing the Mesozoic era. And here it is. And God went on to say, "Let the earth put forth living souls according to their kinds, domestic animals and moving animal and wild beast of the earth according to its kind." And it came to be so. And God proceeded to make the wild beast of the earth according to its kind, and a domestic animal according to its kind, and every moving animal of the ground according to its kind. And God got to see that it was good. So this is the 5th day. And the writer refers to the diversity of life forms on Earth as monsters and creatures. And we have flying creatures filling the air and sea monsters swimming in the waters. Back to Dr. Lesson.
And we get dinosaurs. Reptiles and amphibians survived the Permian-Triassic extinction. And giant sea animals, they're called monsters in the Bible, sea animals such as the Ichthyosaurus and the Plesiosaurus make their appearances during this period. And in the Bible, when it says winged creatures took flight, this is like the 6th day.
And the newly evolving animal life is not referred to as creatures, but instead as animals. And we're looking at domestic or otherwise, and wild beasts. And that's quite a different image from what we saw in Genesis 1:20 to 23.
So then we come to the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction, which is called the KT event. At this time, a meteor or an asteroid impacted the Earth, and this is 6.5 million...
65.5.
Oh, 65.5 million years ago, we get this great big meteor, and it hits in the Yucatan Peninsula area, and it left a dispersal pattern of irradium circling the planet. That's how come we can date it. And there was also a giant volcanic eruption centered in west-central India. It's known as the Deccan Traps. So this KT boundary is caused then by both an asteroid impact and also this volcano that goes off as a result. At this point, 70% of the land animals and 95% of the sea animals disappeared.
And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, and that is the 5th day, Genesis 1:23. The 6th day, from a biblical point of view, is straightforward. God creates the animals that inhabit the earth, and it continues. Oh yeah, and then he creates man, but that's another story. So, I guess that's the end of this show. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We will continue this in another episode. Do tune into our show, Aquarian Radio, to aquarianradio.com, live and via archives. Listen to, or go over to our website, enkispeaks.com, and we do have several books for sale on the Anunnaki, on ancient aliens and ancient anthropology, such as Anunnaki, Gods No More, Anunnaki, Legacy of the Gods, and Anunnaki, False Gods. And thank you so much for joining us.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thanks for joining us today on Aquarian Radio. We broadcast daily, and our schedule is on aquarianradio.com. Listen live by calling 646-649-0893, or you can listen live by calling 646-649-0893, or listen to our archives on aquarianradio.com. Join us again soon, and do tell your friends. The age of Aquarius and the paradigm of peace is now.